McGraw Show on KTRS.
On Saturday, October 27th, they're going to gather at the Gateway Arch for a special screening of the digitally restored movie Monument to a Dream. That is the documentary that they filmed about the building of the arch. They're going to unveil it, and believe it or not, it's the 50th anniversary since the film won an Academy Award for Best Documentary. One of the men who helped build the arch joins us, Jerry Rains. Jerry, welcome, Big 550 KTRS here in St. Louis.
Good morning.
How proud you must be to have worked on the Gateway Arch.
Yes, it's something that at the time most of us that were working on it did it. We had no idea that it would become the magnificent feat that it appears to be today, that is recognized, over the world.
What did you work on, and what was your job?
I was an X-ray technician. One of my jobs was to X-ray the welds of each section as they were set in place, and to ensure that the welds were good before they set the next section.
Did you work on the outside or the inside of the arch?
Both.
Did you have any experience with heights before you did this?
No. Just the fact that I was quite young, and probably, young people don't realize what they're doing sometimes, and that's the way it was with me. I was about 19 at the time.
And you just worked on, did you ever get nervous? I mean, looking down at the rest of the city?
Well, not really, because we were pretty busy, and one of the things that people don't know is that much of the work that we did in X-raying the arch welds was done at nighttime. The Ironworkers organization did not, they basically prohibited us, I guess, from having radiation present when their employees were there, which is understandable. And so we usually got down there about 5:30 or 6, and we worked until probably about 10:30 or 11, and then we went back to the office and processed home for the engineers the next day to review.
And how many times did they have to go back and re-weld?
Oh, very seldom. Very, very seldom. That's a tribute to the guys that were employed to weld. They knew what they were doing. There's no doubt about it. I can only recall maybe one or two times in my experience. Now, I wasn't the only one, of course, that did what I did, but I can only remember once or twice that when we looked at the film, that after we processed it, you become familiar with what they're looking for.
Sure.
And we said, this is probably going to be ground out. And so, there were a couple of times. But quite honestly, I think it's a tribute to the guys that did the welding. They knew what they were doing.
Okay, so after the famous scene where they put the final wedge in, right, where they had to, did they have to pour hot water on the arch to separate the legs to get the last weld in, right?
Well, I think they put cold water on it to make it shrink.
Okay.
Move apart. Hot water would have caused it to expand.
Oh, right.
Made
Right.
it even narrower. But yeah, they flushed it with cold water, and did it early morning so that it was so it would retract and pull back.
And so once that last wedge was in, then you had to go in to make sure it was welded correctly.
Well, someone did. I didn't actually do that part of the project, but someone did. And of course, that was every section was X-rayed.
Yeah.
As it was set in place. So, and there were numerous fellows that did what I did, of course.
Jerry, what's your fondest memory 50 years later of working on the arch?
Oh goodness, there's many, I guess you might say. Again, like I said, at the time, I was a young man and really had not a good grasp of how significant the project was. And at the time, I was working my way through college, and it was a job, and it was helping to pay my way through college, of course.
And how much were you paid?
Minimum wage, and I don't even remember what that was. But I know it wasn't much at that time, but everybody else was working. A lot of other people were working minimum wage too at that time.
Yeah.
So.
And Jerry, you ended up staying here in St. Louis all these years.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. I have done that as well, and it's always nice to go to, and it's really a pleasure to see the many people that come down on those days that they celebrate the construction. The number of people that we see and meet from across the world, and I say world because there have been people visiting St. Louis that I've met from China and all over, and it just I guess that's what I say. I didn't realize at the time the significance of the project, but today I do.
Yeah.
And age always has a way of making you grasp things a little better.
Yeah.
And appreciate them, of course.
Jerry Raines with us. He built the arch 50 years ago. Jerry, thanks for the time and thanks for the service. You did a great job. Congratulations. Thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you so much. Jerry
Raines with us. And October 27th at the Arch, they are going to unveil the digitally restored Academy Award-winning Best Short from 50 years ago called Monument to a Dream. That is a must, by the way. That movie is spectacular. That's almost as fun as going up into the Arch itself. October 27th, part of a tribute to the reopening of the Arch grounds and everything else. To find out more, you can go to the National Park Service, but October 27th at the Arch.